Y'all, back at it, Infidels, twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group. And here at youtube.com, Bin Hamin Channel Infidels, ready to really throw it down on a show that will live throughout the ages. A tearjerker, an emotional night, a beautiful night for wrestling, for the community. A little upset on my part, but that's here nor there. It's not about I, me, my. It's about Brodie Lee. It's about professional wrestling. It's about the brotherhood. It's about the locker room. It's about the family. Here, as we light the candle for Brodie Lee. Y'all are infidels. Good afternoon. We're back after the Snabits sniff on twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman with them banning the channel during the middle of the Brodie Lee Memorial last night. Not happy, going at him, going to go at him hard as I can through my inside channels. But you guys were here this morning, 46 strong for the Solo Dolo Friday locker room, so I appreciate that. So I'm sure you'll be back for this, as we covered a lot of Brodie Lee news this morning. But I'm more excited to get back with my Light the Fuse compadres, MSG and the Chris Silvio, to hear their thoughts on just a beautiful memorial show, as classy as it could be, you guys. So Big Sil, MSG, Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year's Eve to everybody out there in this. Well, I don't need to cover it again, what we've been through together. I'm just glad we're all here together. And unfortunately, we are minus one of one of the strong locker room leaders of all time. So,
yeah, definitely. First, Happy New Year to my boys here at Light the Fuse and to all of our listeners. It's been a wild ride, man. Like I told you guys last week, I've gotten very far off that train of just saying, God, 2020 is the worst. When's it going to over? And I've kind of learned to embrace the positives of 2020 and leave the year happy to have gotten through it. And I think based on everything I've heard and the public outpouring, that seems like a characteristic that John Huber, Brodie Lee possessed. It's very rare in wrestling that you see somebody that appears to be unanimously liked. Even people who are very nice human beings, there's going to be a pocket of people that don't like them for whatever reason, or maybe they did one or two asshole moves when they were 20 years old and it followed them into their 40s. But from everything I've seen about Brodie, he was universally loved by his coworkers, by his fans. I'm ending the year, I think, like Brodie Lee would have ended his year. Beautiful tribute, which we'll talk about. Sad time for the wrestling community, but we're gonna build up bigger and stronger than ever in 2021. How you doing, Maddie?
I'm doing well. I'm doing fantastic Thursday afternoon here, and a little chilly here in Colorado, but sun's up. I went for a walk this morning. It was like 21 degrees, but with no wind. And I was just like, it's not bad. So I think I'm starting to get used to the Colorado cold weather here, and it's a fun little walk. But yes, I'm your host on the scene where the air is clean. I light up this green, your boy, MSG. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. I was wishing upon a hammy as the votes have concluded, and right now the votes are being tallied, and we will see if Light the Fuse is the wrestling review show of the year.
700 plus votes, guys. Wow. So appreciate it. And that's just in less than 2 weeks time. I think that was like in 12 days time. So just unbelievable community work by everybody. Thank you, RBV, and everybody who's nominated and everybody who helped put it out there through social media channels and in the chat rooms. I think when we did it, I don't know if we did it last year or the year before. I think we had maybe 120 votes tops, dude. So that just shows the amount of growth inside the community on all channels, and appreciate it. First to the chat this morning, Ryan Schmidt. Want to appreciate him, a local guy I know here, a great theater mind. This was one of the best ways I could do a tribute to a dude like Brodie. My heart breaks for 2CW and the AEW family. That's it to me too, man. I saw Colin Delaney kind of stick his head up yesterday and say I still don't really have the words, and I'm thinking a lot about Colin and Nick Ando and Dirty Bomb Dewey and Super Beast and Pepper and Cherry and Butcher and all those guys out there, Hellcat and Josh and Steve and Jack trades, everybody, man. Kid trades, all the 2CW fan base, man, because that's where he was made. That's where he became a star and got signed to go out. I know people out in Jersey seen him. They put about over Canada last night too, and that's our corridor. And when you can break through and you're kind of a guy on the cusp there that things are happening for, everyone gets excited, man. And they even mentioned that he was supposed to have his debut in Rochester, and we were going to show up and show out like only 2CW and Upstate and ESW can. And we were going to make sure that Brodie Lee was going to be known as the next guy in wrestling, that the spotlight was going to be there, because once 2CW takes over, there ain't no getting the show back. That's just how it is. They do it at house shows, the WWE, they do it at ROH, they do it everywhere. So, that was robbed from us because of COVID. COVID lockdown happened the week before that was supposed to go down. So regardless of him never getting the true shine that we wanted our brother to get, he got it last night, man. He got made to legendary levels last night. And regardless of some long-term storyline or whatever, his name will forever be synonymous with that. So there's a lot of guys. I mean, I knew him, hung with him, and we had some laughs and a couple smokes, but there's a lot of guys I know that were really, really tight with him who are hurting bad now, dude, and still are, and will be for a long time. And I said this on other shows. I've lost 2 friends of mine very tragically, very young. So I've been through this shit and stomped into the ground twice before. So I'm kind of able to be the welcome mat or the wipe your feet on the rug, because you can't really kick me down anymore. Feeling this just makes me think of those losses, and like, it's never easy, but if you've been through it, unfortunately, twice like I have, you're kind of ground into piss already. So, and you can take it a little easier than those who've never had to experience it. Some of these guys I know never have had to, and unfortunately we got each other to go through it together.
With Brodie's debut, I remember us talking about this, live as it was happening. And I remember you being bummed out that he couldn't have the Rochester debut. And I remember feeling really bad for the guy. Yeah. And then when you look at his body of work in hindsight, Brodie Lee, or John, was able to completely save the Dark Order that was a floundering gimmick. They dug their heels in and said, we're going to do this thing. Instead of scrapping it when the internet was going crazy. And, there's some talented guys in there, player 1, player 2, down the line. But Brodie saved it. Brodie made it all work. And I'm so happy, just as a fellow wrestler, I'm so happy that he got that chance to show the world that he was who he thought that he was inside. Mm-hmm. There's only so many times you could ride the bench or play the game in WWE, and deep down in here that you got more to offer. And I think that's one of the bigger silver linings of this whole thing, is that I'm just happy for him as a professional that he got to do that. He got to show the world, not only can I save this angle, but I could be a top guy. I can main event. So it's just that funny thing about life, man. The only constant is that things are constantly changing. He took an adverse situation, hating his job at WWE, his AEW debut going horribly wrong, and turned it into something great, and hopefully a character that'll be remembered forever.
And, another part of that, and the layers of why he might have even done that. I mean, it was floundering. Matt Hardy, Raven, who's it going to be? Chris Daniels. And they're just, they wrote something with no roadmap, and Brodie saves it. But for 2CW faithful, that was Brodie being in that same locker room with player Uno and player Dos while they were fucking working the Briscoes. That was kind of ending when I first came in, and they got locked up in Canada, like their passports, they couldn't come over because they'd gone back and forth too much. So they had to stay there. So that was them kind of the reunification of 2CW locker room in that clique that way. And we were happy to have that and see that for those guys, because Super Smash Brothers are awesome dudes too. So, and Ryan's got a great point. He says, I haven't been hit with a loss like this since 2013 or so, but when they come to Rochester, they're still going to show up and show out. Do that. I guarantee it, bro. That Rochester show is going to be the ticket of possibly ever there in Rochester. That show will go down as another AEW show, and 2C Dub will be taking over that. Believe me, that's just how it's going down. Because if anything, these drives, there's a small core of Psycho fans that still are in this corridor from ECW. And now when they've been robbed of the moment, remember how rabid it was at One Night Stand and shit when they wanted their shine? It's going to be even more than that. It's going to be more than that. I can guarantee it. So, Hardcore Holly, we're back, man. It was a great night last night, and it was, Dark Order over Strong all night long, baby, and as it should be. So, we'll cover it all, break it down. If you were here on our other Twitch channel, it got pulled. They're trying to play some stuff off. I'm gonna play dirty. You guys know I'm closet
Twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group. Then
yeah. So we're on a Hamin Media Group for now, and appreciate it. I don't know if I want to risk it doing the SmackDown Live self-help group in here, so I may do it in Discord tomorrow night. Because why fuck with it? We can go back over Strong and keep this as the fail-safe, because even in their bylaws it says you better not have a backup channel. Well, you better suck a fart out of my ass, because I'm tired of this First Amendment bullshit, and you tell me what I can and cannot fucking say. So we'll see who's standing at the end of the day, and I got a fucking feeling you will be kneeling before Zod when it's all fucking said and done. Y'all,
what's the? I don't want you to give me the whole, long story, but what's the short of the deal? Was it foul language?
I was playing AEW. Are we in the wrong for playing TV stuff? Yeah. You want to go down the road? Cable companies charge X amount. Fuck you. You're lucky we're even watching your show. Hey, it's a memorial for my friend, and fuck you. Like, we can go back and forth with this shit. At the end of the day, fuck their greed. It's open country on the internet. I pay what I pay for my service, and I'm out here giving away free shows. They crossed the line, and now it's morality versus greed versus technicalities, and a fucking, you sign the agreement, you can fucking come here and pull it. Come here and show me where I signed it, and I'll slap you upside the head. And I know the people behind the scenes. I'm going to be on Twitch front page next week, and when I have to deal with the moderator who has to go to answer to his guys, I'm going to say, you're putting me in touch with those guys. We're going to have a fucking meeting straight up. Because you fucked up the memorial of my friend. What do you got to say about it? Now you're going to reinstate my channel with a check mark, and this shit is untouchable. If you ever come at me again, I'm going to fucking lawyer up on you.
Big Ray says it's Colin Weissong's fault. So
it always is. I mean, you're dealing with human trafficking. This is the type of
new wives. Apparently, he's got multiple wives too. Like, he's trying to be like you. Apparently.
That's the way to be, like me.
I don't know how you do it, man. Buying all those New Year's dresses today.
Yeah, that's a lot of use. Right?
They're all at the casino. I just send them all to the casino. I just show up when I need to show up.
That's pretty good.
Somebody sent me. Oh, I think I did a podcast that's coming out this weekend with Rad Rob, and he said that, Ben, that you missed an opportunity to do a cover of Deck the Halls, but change it from fa la 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 to ya la la la. Like, you missed that opportunity.
I've done that promo before, but I don't. Yes, I agree. Sometimes I just repeat myself. I had a whole 2CW promo too of the show that I was going to shit on, and then Brodie dies, and I'm like, I'm not going to put this out. You know what I mean? Like, no. So not only did Brodie die, but on his way out, he killed my promo for the new year.
Final rib on you.
Yeah, good rib, man. Good one on me, bro. He's like, you want to eat? I'll take your spot.
Maddie, what's the person's name that sent that comment?
As far as that was Rob. He's one of our hosts for Rad Rob on Sundays, the RTW Rewind show.
Okay, gotcha.
However, we did get a late entry into the musical submission. Apparently, they did not put the HMG at the end of the email. So after them reaching out to me, they did resend me their submission. I'm going to look for it. But while I'm doing that here, I just want to go ahead and put over our sponsors. You can go to thebrosters.com. pick up yourself a bag of Russo Bro coffee. Get the 5-pound bag Russo Bro coffee and use the code BRO5LB and you'll save some money, bro. And as I heard on the Friday locker room this morning, Ben was guzzling it down, yeah?
Yeah, I had to, man. I've been feeling terrible since food poisoning on Monday. And then last night, I just was like, had the congestion. I took some Dayquil tabs before I went to bed, and I woke up today and I feel great again. But I needed to get it going this morning. That Broasters. I like my Dippin' Donuts coffee, too. It's a little lighter roast. And Dimitri hooked it up for Christmas. But when I got to get out of the gate in the morning, dude, that Broasters Vince Russo Bro is the way to go. It's gets your chatty Cathy going, but I don't feel too like out of control of what's going on. It's perfect mid range for me.
Nice.
Oh yeah, good stuff, man.
Of course, you can also check
Broasters this morning, man.
You had some. You could have used some.
I need to get Vinny Rue to send his boy out a little.
I saw.
Little
Vinny Roos sent out his new action figure to Matt Cardona, had a signed one. Zach Ryder holding it up and putting it over on Twitter. So that was pretty cool, man. Chelsea Green, give me a shout. I'm waiting for you to get back to me. Got something for you.
All right, so I'm going to sing another Christmas song here for you. Apparently, it's also sung to Jingle Bell, so we don't have any listeners who can't be more original. And you know what? Truth be told, I read this a couple days ago. I even tried to sing this to like Jingle Bell Rock, but I don't want to rewrite this. So here's Jingle Bells. This is sent in by John Enright, who's the host of the Star Trek podcast with Triple D, the Academy podcast. It goes, light the fuse, listen every day, talking only as they can to show AEW the way. Hey, light the fuse, listen every day. Makes me want to hug MSG. Hamin and Sylvia are sexy in every way. And then it continues on by saying, light the fuse, listen all the day. Bless these men as Wednesday. They watch AEW all the way. And then he says to read the last part. Ya Allah, infidels, rise and praise. Bow to the sexiest, greatest podcast ever. Faceless forever. And he wrote this, you Mormons. So he didn't write, I know he meant morons, but he wrote Mormons.
I kind of like Mormons better.
You infidel Mormons, old men marrying or 15-year-old girls, thinking that you have tablets with secret writings from God. Pathetic infidels. Go back to Utah and go skiing and don't drink any alcohol, but masturbate privately. Y'all.
Here you go.
Well
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Well done. And you know, I mean, he might be onto something. We all got to evolve as performers. You've been doing the Morons deal for a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
how you come after the Mormons.
It's interesting you bring that up, Sil. You might be. I mean, it's 0 for 4. I said, is it time to bail? Is it time to bail on the fucking big gimmick? And
if you chop the beard and then become like a serious version of Matt Stone and Trey Parker anti-Mormonism, but being like a Mormon, that might be interesting.
I'm not doing any new gimmicks.
Oh.
Okay. I'll still be Ben Amin, but I'll be the shooter that I am here in Russo and Rip's boy. That'll be it. I don't need any more than that to be a hero.
I just want to see you do a Mormon gimmick. It'd be funny, I guess.
Yeah, I just want to fucking be able to eat my dinner without having to go like this every fucking bite.
Yes, eating all kinds of things becomes difficult.
Ben more mean? You don't want to be Ben more mean? I don't know. That was a big right.
By the way,
if the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints wants to start sending me a check, maybe I'll fucking be happy to do Book of Mormon for them.
I'd like to see you more in like some kind of contest against the Mormons, some kind of blood feud.
I think so. Absolutely. I fucking torment them.
I don't know if you saw this or not, but I clicked.
Mormon could be the dumbest religion of them all. Sorry, go ahead.
It's up there. There's another one in my mind, but I don't.
Scientology is right there, but yeah.
I can't say I was or wasn't thinking that. But I saw a clickbait article the other day. I don't know if you saw it as well, but this article claimed that our very own Trina from Trinity, from Trailer Park Boys, now has an OnlyFans. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about it because she was also on Twitch too. And I had reached out to see if she wants to do an interview. She said, DM me.
Well, there you go. Do we know if it's true?
I think she is. I think she's doing the whole digital thing. And tomorrow on SwearNet, but it'll probably be downloaded and come out on one of my Wear sites. New Trailer Park Boys from jail, like Orange is the New Black season. So I'm fucking pumped about that.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that one. I wonder if like her OnlyFans stuff is going to be like her and Jacob in the trailer, or
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? It'll probably be her doing paid stuff where she's in fucking lingerie playing video games. It looks like about like what she's up to.
All right, hey, make your money, girl. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, man.
Well, guys,
I popped huge for this during the Ray and I were talking. Host, I still got to edit it and put it out right after this. Impact Attack. That they're doing like resolutions for the new year, and Jordan Grace jumps on and she goes, "My resolution is to not engage with fans on Twitter so much." And I fucking popped massive. Then yesterday she puts up an old picture of herself versus a new, like, thirsty picture of herself where she looks like an old Butch Dyke in one. And dude, people are saying she looks like Cornette and putting pictures of Cornette right next to her. It does. She did look like Cornette to start with, but dude, just feeding right into it. So resolution already busted. Like, really good stuff, Trish.
Well, I mean, that's a great segue. You go to prowrestlingtees.com/BidHamin and pick up yourself a brand new t-shirt, tweet, dive, apologize, and repeat.
Yeah.
As well as you can also, if you're watching right now on the YouTube and on twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group, you can see Chris Silvio is sporting a Doors t-shirt. Well, I'm supporting the inspired version of that, which you can pick up at prowrestlingtees.com/superstar Chris Silvio. So go buy that shirt. In fact, I think my shirt's better. Sorry, Silvio. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get them all, and then also pick up, even if you want to, I'll put a store over a Punk, Mick Foley, or the hottest selling shirt that there is right now at AEW, Brodie Lee's shirt. So
all the proceeds.
I think that's what we're all going to show up and show out in Rochester. I think that's going to be the official gear. You know what I mean? Probably that and a 2C dub hat is the way to go. I'm sure Josh will get some new snapbacks made before that with like a special Brodie Lee edition. You know how Josh, if you're a 2C dub fan, loves his limited merch and those snapbacks. So I'm sure we're going to fucking have some real soldier gear to go out there and represent when they come back through.
Also,
that
of course,
was a very classy move, by the way. Sorry, Maddie. For them to do those shirts and have the proceeds going to Brodie's family. I haven't seen anything like that done by a major wrestling company, at least in recent memory. So I thought that was very classy of Tony Khan to do.
You go to prowrestlingtees.com/BWOSTV/SEG shirts and Great God Papa Don. Check out StevieRichardsFitness.com. Join the resistance band sensation that's sweeping the nation. Sign up, like one-time charge, guys. Like I was just having this conversation with Rob when we were talking about Steve Rich Fitness. You don't have to pay a monthly annual membership. You're not a number. You literally pay less than $20 essentially, and you have access to Steve Richards for life. How cool is that? Go sign up at the minimum, and you can buy some cheap bands to start practice, and then you can invest for $20, $30 and get some good bands. At most, you're spending $50, and you can work out from home. Come on, people.
Yeah, no more worrying with the gym. I mean, look at Big Ray's results. I'm feeling stronger than I ever have, to be honest with you, at 43 years old. And Stevie's, whatever, how many 100 years old he is now, and he looks phenomenal. So it's all the work we're doing. It's the new year, and why play into more frustration and plan it shit list when they're only going to lock it down and you can't work out and get a sweat. And with Stevie Richards Fitness, you don't need any more than a 4x4 space to do it in. And you can do it anywhere on the road, wherever it is. So absolutely join us in the new year to keep getting healthier, man. I'm using also Precision Striking on YouTube, my favorite free channel. I almost want to go to precisionstriking.com just to go buy stuff to support what he's doing on YouTube. He's releasing these awesome boxing breakdown combo workouts, whether it's cardio, style, or whatever. And then he takes Pacquiao, Mayweather, Tyson, Canelo, and does these full workouts. So you're fighting like these guys. It's unbelievable. If you do them 2, 3, 4 times, you're like, holy shit, I'm moving like them. I'm fucking doing stuff every time you switch it up. That Mike Tyson workout's a motherfucker for me, being 6'3", and Tyson's always side to side. My fucking abs are shot the next goddamn 2 days after that. And Mayweather does a lot of snap punches, so my shoulders the next day are rocked. So it always switches up, and that's free on YouTube. Precision striking is what I'm doing now with Stevie Richards Fitness Combo and some dumbbells mixed in. Join us.
Hey, my older brother just started Stevie Richards Fitness program this week.
Nice.
My brother was a 21-year military veteran, athlete in high school, really good shape. He ran 5 miles a day for years and years, lifted, was always in great shape. He developed, unfortunately, some back and neck issues over his military career, had a couple surgeries. He had 2 surgeries in 2020 alone, and he finally just got cleared to do some moving around again and some light to moderate exercise. Unfortunately for him, he put on a bunch of weight, which he wasn't used to having. And, as I was talking to him, I just kept prepping him like, look, when the time comes, our buddy Stevie's got this program. That's the perfect thing for you to ease back into this. I reached out to Stevie, got everything connected. Stevie, provided him with the whole combo. And after his first week of the workouts, he's like, man, I'm sore as hell, but I fucking love it because I haven't felt this in 2 years now. So he appreciates what Stevie does, and I can't wait to show you guys the results 6 months from now.
Awesome.
So thanks for that, Stevie, and I encourage anybody else to give it a try, man. We're doing it in the Silvio house.
Dr. would say it too, as a physical therapist, resistance bands, because you can gauge how much resistance you need, versus rehabbing an injury like that. That's a great way to start out too. So for novices, or if you think resistance bands aren't shit, bullshit, you get the Lifeline ones strapped 2 on there. You're up to 100 pounds of resistance, bro. It ain't no joke when you start doing chest flies with 100 pounds and you got to control it of resistance and rubber bands. It's about control too. That's something that machines walk you through, and you lose some of that in Stevie Richards Fitness. Definitely, you got to stay focused on it. I'm a big fan. Go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say, this apartment I'm in this is the first time in the apartment I've been living in that the door actually comes toward me, so now I can properly use the door hanger, the door hook. So it's been nice. I've gotten a lot more space to work out with Stevie Richards, so I was pretty happy about that. Yeah, so guys, check that out, StevieRichardsFitness.com. Also check out Stevie Richards Fitness Yoga. It's got a couple 3 different videos up there for different levels. Most, again, $30. Like, everything is very affordable and cost effective for you health wise. Stevie Richards makes it affordable for you, so go check that out. All right, so last thing, of course, ZordosOliveOil.com. Pick up your bottle of the finest Greek artisan olive oil. Can't go wrong there.
Made an awesome steak with it last night and put it in the cast iron with some onion, got her up on high, steak London broil, and then finished it off in the oven 475 or 6 minutes. Perfect medium rare, bro. Drilled
Used it on Christmas. It was great for steak, so can't disagree.
I just did some chicken fingers.
Ooh, nice.
But that's still
good. The good kind, or the ones with the little crumblies on the outside?
The good kind, $8.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right, well, let's talk a little AEW, the Dynamite show. We can get into breaking it down. So, of course, for those who if you have been living in the dark, I don't know why you are listening to a wrestling show 1 week later. But Brodie Lee, unfortunately, has passed away. In doing so, there was a little bit of a reaction. Now, I know that Ben Hamin has probably already given his thoughts multiple times on this, but Chris Silvio, I'd like to give you the opportunity, if you haven't heard, and for maybe those who haven't, there was an individual, a journalist by the name of Bruce Mitchell, who put out a journalism opinionated piece questioning the, I guess you might say, the validity of AEW and them hiding or not being as forthcoming with information in regards to Brodie Lee's health. He accused them somewhat, if you will, that they were covering it up. And unfortunately, this led to Brodie's wife, Amanda, having to come out, retort, and even having to put out more personal information that she shouldn't have had to do. And ultimately, Bruce Mitchell was then let go. I don't know if you saw all this. I know you're not online. So just break that all down for you. So Bruce Mitchell's no longer with the Torch after 30 years because he wrote a piece basically questioning the fact that AEW and Amanda didn't come out over time with the information. And then Amanda put out an Instagram post basically saying she's still at this point doesn't even know. And imagine being in her position, which you can listen on the Friday Locker Room. Ben breaks down the whole press. The Instagram post, she states, I don't even know at this point still what happened. So unfortunate situation all around, but you got journalism out there, quote unquote journalism, Silvio. Us Ben and everyone likes to say not knowing when to shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up, and then you shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay. So believe it or not, as well as you guys know me and the listeners, we're kind of buddies. One of my resolutions this year is to be more calm, to not allow stress and outside influences to impact me inside. I can control what happens inside. My first instinct when you told me that, which I haven't heard, was to grab Bruce Mitchell. I could say it in the nice way possible, by his fucking throat. But I'll put it like this. Bruce Mitchell, what right do you have to ask such a question? And two, did you ever think that maybe Brodie and his family didn't want this to be out there? Maybe they're in a difficult situation during a pandemic, during the holidays, and they didn't want all of their personal info to be out there. It's not your right as a journalist to know this kind of stuff. And AEW is of no kind of authority there. That's not their responsibility in the slightest to tell you that. And I bet you a large part of that, this is just my speculation, but I'm sure a large part of the decision not to say anything probably was at the request of Brodie and or his family. So I hate to see somebody lose their job, but it's none of your business, man. Let it go. That's the least of our concerns right now.
And that was his ultimate downfall, Silvio, is after that his article came out and the backlash started with the online, banter from fans and whatnot. I will give Disco credit as he points out, and I think rightfully so in some retrospect, but Wade Keller kind of does throw Bruce Mitchell under the bus in his letting go his press release by saying that, me and Bruce have built up a friendship over the last 30 years. So there was a levity of trust that I gave with him, and it wasn't something that I even looked over. So he kind of does, throw him a little bit under the bus there, but it is also his brand too. So he still has to have responsibility in printing that. In doing so, the thing is, Bruce then doubled down on it as he was being challenged online. He then challenged and tried to argue back. And I think because of that, he was then let go. Ultimately because of that, because after he doubled down on it, that's when she came out again with her second reply on Instagram, and then he was ultimately let go. So yeah, I agree, and I can give you more of my thoughts in depth as we can move on here, and you can hear more of Hamin's thoughts on this show, on the Raw and SmackDown review, on Friday Locker Room. So you can get more in depth there, but I go more in depth with Rad Rob, quote unquote, as the marks on the RTW Rewind show. So you can check that out this weekend. But my sentiments are pretty much the same. You know what I mean?
So why was he fired or let go?
He was let go, I think, in part because he didn't take a responsibility for the article as a way that it could be taken as offensive. He defended it and he doubled down on it when he was called out. I think if Wade had put out the article at first, his retort about the apology and whatnot, and said, hey, we'll remove it, Bruce had shut up, it might have gone away. But then he doubled down on arguing with people and making more common accusations. And then they had to and then Amanda tweeted. And once Amanda came out and said, and now I have to come out and I have to respond to some dirt sheet writer. Boom,
so
that was it.
He was fired. He was fired because he continued to argue with people over the article.
Yeah.
He wasn't fired for writing it. He was fired for what he did after.
It's in both in timing, that's the whole thing. Timing's everything, right? And so to drop that, there isn't feelings attached before the AEW show. People are a whirlwind of emotion right now. You're just begging to make yourself a target. And of course he knew that was why the real purpose of it was. Could he have come back with another retraction and been like, you know what? I was just trying to do my due diligence, but I understand I may have jumped the gun and that this was a sensitive subject. I apologize to anybody who's been offended by this. I respect Brodie Lee and in the world of professional wrestling, and my apologies if I hurt anybody, but it wasn't that. It was let's go into the megalomaniac madness. He gets canned. He starts.
Let's go further. He works he's got a stupid show, right? On 83 Weeks pod, ad free. So he's connected with Conrad and Eric and all those stupid dinguses. All he had to do was make one phone call and say, hey, was this legit? What's going on? Do your due diligence as a journalist. Like he didn't have to.
Didn't have to be that. Is we've seen and heard the rumors that Khan is paying fucking Meltzer, whoever else, Wrestle Inc., and probably Keller, PW Torch. So just the fact that he stepped out of line, all Khan has to do is send one text to Keller, and it's all over with, Briz. You want the 30 grand I'm paying you on the side, or you want to fucking be a dumbass? Like, you're gone. You're gone.
Well, he is gone. He's off Twitter too. So there you go. He's gone.
Poor timing.
He still has a show on 83 or ad-free radio. I don't know what the name of the freaking website is. All the Eric Bischoff, Conrad shows. I don't know. Like I know they're over there with Tony Schiavone, stuff like that too. So.
He might. It's poor timing. It was very bad judgment on his part. I don't think he should be fired for writing the article. I think something like what Hamin said, of coming back with this statement or retraction, like, hey, I was trying to do my job as a journalist. I realize now in hindsight, blah, 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 it would have been okay. I'm firmly against the cancel culture idea in general of just when people get in an uproar, first thing to fire. But if, as you guys are saying, after the article came out, he's fanning the flames and being an asshole, then he did it to himself.
I can even defend him wanting to know because, dude, we want closure in these things, and it's not just. And I say they don't have to tell us fuck all. All he has to do as a wrestling journalist is call the hospital and get a fucking statement. They're not going to release whatever for HIPAA reasons, but this guy is a major star. They're going to have a PR campaign ready to roll out. And if not, and then all he has to do is say, I called the hospital and they would not comment on X instead of you're hiding something, you motherfuckers. You better tell. Who the fuck are you to have to be told anything?
Exactly.
It was like the article was written like an episode of Ancient Aliens. What if? What now? What happened?
The Society Reviews in the chat on YouTube, these wrestling journalists are functioning autistics. You're 100% right. It doesn't matter if it's Bixen, Meltzer, Keller, or Mitchell. These guys all are they have no social skills to really engage with people in a situation normally, let alone a crisis situation, tragic situation like this. They really need to be put on Prozac, lithium, whatever it is, and marginalized because they have never been trained. They've never been in the ring. They've never really done anything in this business except be pariahs, and they should be drummed out of it because the professionals are here and they had their decades and they just need to be pushed to the side, every single one of them.
All right, well, there's your AEW hot news. Let's get into AEW now. Last night itself, let's transition. So AEW, of course, as we mentioned, aired a tribute show for Brodie Lee, who passed away this past Saturday night. Show featured interviewed with talent in addition to several tribute messages honoring Lee. Just to go over some numbers quickly, last week's broadcast of WWE NXT had 698,000 viewers compared to AEW, which drew 775. Down from the previous week, 806. From then 995 and 913 the previous 2 weeks, respectively. The AEW YouTube viewership last Wednesday was down as well. It only had a total of 1.7 million views, whereas the previous week it had 3.3 million. The most viewed was Stinger interrupting Team Taz, which had 500,000 views. The least viewed was Abaddon getting in the head of Hikaru Shida, that interview. The median viewership total of all their videos, 130,000 views. If you haven't had the opportunity, I would say go, even if you don't like Being the Elite, go watch the latest episode of Being the Elite. It's a 100% tribute show to Brodie Lee and all his backstage antics as the Dark Order stuff. Some pretty funny stuff in there. They kind of show him, bloopers of him, how they talked about where during the scene he would be 100% serious, but then if he wasn't on set, he'd be watching, and him laughing would make other people laugh just because he's just such a serious guy on set. So I thought that there was some funny stuff there. And nice little tribute show, 15 minutes. So go check that out if you want. a full in-depth tribute show, just based only on
I
Brodie's.
was gonna put this over because they did on Being the Elite, the bit with the papers. So,
Yep.
I think this should become a thing at every indie show across the world. That once on every indie show from now until the end of time, there's a in the fucking face paper spot. And no matter how many different ways you come up with it, even you get it up to the point of where guys pull it out as a weapon and do it in the comedy match as a double down in the fucking ring and they both bump off the papers, or just a boss chewing on a ref and fucking throws papers in it. It can be as small as that, or it can be as big as the papers battle royal and guys are getting knocked out in a comedy way to honor Brodie. What do you think? I think that would be one of the best wrestle crap ways that we could keep his memory in every show forever.
I love it, and I'm down to book it. I can get down with that. Jericho did a great job putting that over too.
Yeah,
only Jericho can say these kind of things. Like Brodie did, it was so funny and did it so well getting that thing over. And Jericho, like I think Shivani or somebody said something about, well, it's just paper. Jericho fires back. Have you ever had a paper cut? That hurts. Like,
yeah, just to ratchet it up. Absolutely, absolutely great stuff last night from Chris.
Well, to get into the actual show, we open up with Brodie's Lee, his family, that being all the wrestlers, producers, and other staff on stage. They were doing a 10-bell salute, of course. I thought it was interesting during the 10-bell salute. When I got to like bell 8 or 9, it seemed like maybe the fans lost count because 1 or 2 fans started to scream out, Brodie, Brodie. And I just could be imagining there's somebody there being, shut the fuck up. Like, and they just shut the fuck up immediately. It was, I don't know why I popped for that. But yes, there was a 10-bell salute that happened there. And then as you put it over earlier on the Friday Locker Room, your record bin, we had the Jon Moxley tribute. He says he can't find the words to say, but he ends up talking about how Brodie Lee and how far back they go. He says that wrestling is not just a sport, it's a community of people. He said, I love you, Brodie, and I'll never forget you. So we'll start with you, Sylvia. What do you think of Jon Moxley's video package?
I've said many times I think Moxley's the best promo in wrestling. And I can double down on that even more after last night. What Moxley did was he cut a shoot promo from the voice of Jon Moxley as opposed to Jonathan Good or whatever his real name is. So he spoke from his heart and did this tribute to Brodie, his friend, and it was all real. But he still sounded like the Jon Moxley we see on TV while doing that. And that is a rare quality and something extremely hard to do if you really understand this business. So I thought it was a great tribute, so emotional, that promo, but I got another level of respect for Moxley that he was able to, quote unquote, stay in gimmick while doing that.
I agree. And there's another one that's later on the night that I think that gets me even more. Ben, did you want to comment further on this promo?
I thought he was phenomenal. I thought it was magnificent. Exactly what a man should be. He was hurting, and his character probably saved him, so he doesn't have to feel and show that on camera, and he can keep that to himself, so he could get through it. That's probably why it was so strong. He had to go into character so strong to be able to make it through, and his words were awesome. They were as to start the show off like that. It brought it right into the real moment right away. Everything else meant more on the show because of his promo.
So for those who are unaware, as far as the lineup for last night's show, the whole show was booked by -1, aka Brodie's son. Tony Khan worked with Brodie's son. At least that's what they're supposing, that he worked with him to book the whole card. I don't think he would deceive or lie to people like that. So
the whole card, or just that one match that had Cody?
No, the whole card tonight. Whole card.
That's why everybody's
got grade A taste in women's tag matches for tail. I'm telling you that right now, because there was some sex appeal, real deal in the ring last night, boys. Oof.
Well, he lined them up. So the first match of the night was the Young Bucks and the Colt Cabana taking on Matt Hardy and Private Party, or I guess you might say Hardy Party. Of course, the winner of this match is what we're going to end up seeing throughout the night is Dark Order over Strong in some form or fashion. So in this match, it was the Young Bucks and Colt Cabana. Not to be said that the match wasn't good itself.
A match was going great. I didn't like when they started doing the jump up with the chair because the match was so awesome. Nick Jackson, unbelievable athlete to start with, but to see the emotion in him last night when we usually see it more from Matt, Nick was really in the moment last night with everything he was doing. But to me, I guess it's all of them. Colt Cabana, I could watch that moonsault 100 times. He is in the best shape I've ever seen him. What we talked about last week with him leading Jurassic Express through that match, he did a phenomenal job there. And here, he knew what he had to deliver on. And I'll tell you what, as good as Matt and Nick Jackson were, Matt Hardy was bumping his ass off like it was 1995 again, and he was looking for his spot in order to respect and show Brodie that I got only a couple punches on my bump card, and here's fucking couple for you, brother, and I'm going to really do it and not mail it in. I'm sure Matt Hardy's feeling it today. But to me, it's all about Colt Cabana, flying asshole. When he gave him the fucking skylights in the corner, holy shit, on a shingle, Chris Kringle, he killed him. Like, it was great. And Colt looks as great as he ever has. And I'm telling you right now, not like Brodie dying for a wrestling angle or anything is whatever, but you want to talk about a solidified angle in a cult figure who dies, and now they have a purpose going forward to praise his legacy. I think Dark Order can go from a rib of phony fucking shitty punches of what they were to one of the biggest angles of 2021. And if you really get back to making it a cult, and John Silver and those guys stop doing some yuck comedy, but like really make it, dude, there's incredible potential right now to cross those lines.
Or you go the other route and make them baby faces.
Yeah. Oh, you could. You could. Sure.
I was going to say, I think we can dive further into maybe
they are baby faces even as the cult. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because of being the elite, yeah.
They don't want them to be clowny as the cult, but they're made after last night's show. You got to do something big going forward with them.
I agree with you, man. Cabana, he was super emotional last night. Like, it got me watching Colt go out there. I could feel his pain, but my God, did he turn it on? He was busting out some of the old boom boom stuff. He hit the pretty moonsault. Everything he did had expert timing. Colt's the fucking man. One thing I was thinking during this match and throughout the whole show is that I didn't envy the position of any of the boys and girls last night that had to perform, because it had to be so difficult, especially right after that. Same as, if you remember the Owen Hart tribute show, those emotional videos, and then the guys going out to perform. So kudos to all of them for going out and doing it. I've had friends pass. I've had people in the business pass, but I've never had to do something like that where somebody that I work with, on a daily or weekly basis passes, and now I have to perform. So that takes a lot of strength, and they all did very well, but I think Cabana really shined in that.
I think that show in itself, sure, it honors Brodie, but it really did more for the locker room because they can get out. That was a vehicle for them to let that emotion out in their performance, and they're going to be able to cope and deal with it a lot better than not having the opportunity to do that. And fucking, you even see the WWE guys with Brian Myers, how hot he was, and even APOC retweeted it, a lot of shit, bro, like of what they say they're doing or what they do and don't do vindictively. Those guys got to fucking take that, spoonful of salt and fucking choke it back. And whereas the guys on AEW, yeah, they're emotional, and you might catch them in a moment of reality as opposed to phony wrestling. But for their psyche, 10 years from now, they're going to be so more well adjusted than these guys who feel scorned by vindictiveness.
Yep, I definitely would say as a whole, this show was a great tribute show, and I know we'll continue to break it down further, but this was, not to like rank tribute shows, but as far as tribute shows, this was definitely one of the best, if not the best, I would say the other one that I'm partial to is the Eddie Guerrero one, but that was because I was a big Eddie Guerrero.
Chris Benoit one was good before 24 hours after that.
Yeah, that was true. I mean, I wasn't going to bring that one up, but I just remember the Eddie Guerrero one with like when you see big giant monsters cry, like that one got me as a kid. I was crying on that one.
And now back to Hog Wild. I knew that.
Get him on the show sometime.
His beard's as long as mine. He just had another little baby, but fucking he's got a big old fucking hog beard. I wonder if it goes all the way to his back hawk or not.
So they go to commercial. They go to commercial. They come back. We get 2 vignettes back to back. One being Darby Allin. He talks about Brodie. Says that goes on to say that he was actually happy when Brodie came to AEW. Went on about how Brodie didn't have an ego at all, that he was there to elevate everyone, and that he wishes that he could have wrestled him. So it was a good one. Nothing wrong with it. I like the next one, though, I think more particular with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston felt very real and raw, and I liked his message to his kid where he was saying, you're going to look back on this, and your dad's name and memory will never be gone as long as you carry it on. And we're going to carry it on. So I really liked it. It just felt very raw.
Huge off. He would say something. I'd try and bust his balls, and he'd look at me and say, I'm rich.
I'm rich. Yeah.
Because that's that day where it was the house party after the UPW show that like the neighbors are like looking out on the front lawn, like these rowdy wrestlers are in, crashing fucking rich suburban Rochester, really. And Brodie's like, fuck you, I paid cash for my house. And then he goes down a big water slide and fucking goes flying through the air. Like, like all these doctors and shit that live around him who are tight ass motherfuckers or old IBM money or whatever, So that line popped the shit out of me because we're just still some road dogs fucking. Kingston was working UPW 3 years ago. It was me, him, and Ethan Page on the card in Hornswoggle. So fucking, he was doing those same Eagles Nest fucking shows, but still with Brodie, a Rochester guy, and Brodie will fucking tighten the screws on. You'd be like, fuck you, I'm rich, I can say what I want. But he also went. That picture of Brodie in Saudi Arabia when the plane gets fucking held up. That's a iconic picture. I thought that one might make the rounds this week, but I remember that picture because we were covering that kind of hour by hour of is this a hostage situation, which it was, and that picture of Brodie fucking tells the whole story, bro.
That was a great photo.
Or
Eddie Kingston too, man. Like. Eddie, I would put him on the top of the list of most authentic heels. There's very few people that work a traditional heel style where you're not supposed to like him and you don't. He excels at that. But more so, Eddie is arguably the best at just being raw. I think he's on the Jon Moxley level of raw. And that's what we saw in that tribute video.
That's what I was pitching for myself kind of to you earlier. Like that when I think about who I'd have to be, it'd be close to Kingston in my own way.
Yeah. I could see you pulling it off. He was just so raw and authentic. You could tell he's a strong, tough son of a bitch that you could feel every bit of his emotion while he's still holding on to that tough son of a bitch. So very, very good video.
And then he
playing the game. He did it last week while playing the game on the mic of putting over JR, shitting on fucking Excalibur and Shivani. So he can do it in a comedy tongue-in-cheek way or a very serious way.
Well, that was my next point too, is, as he came out, he even transitioned, said that he loves and misses Brodie, but basically the Dark Order is dead. Fuck the Dark Order. We're going to beat your ass now.
Yeah.
So the match begins with Kingston, the Butcher, and the Blade taking on Lance Archer, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. As you noted before in the Friday Locker Room, again, you can check that out, hackerhamin.podme.com, that Lance Archer did tribute to Luke Harper's characters who came out in a wife beater, blue jeans, and a red bandana. So he came out in an old Luke Harper outfit.
Yeah, they did the falsie on the spinning fucking lariat and ducked it. I wanted that to be the finish right there, bro. Like they came back with boots, but that could have been the finish right there and over strong. But then in the end, when fucking Jake comes in and does the fucking short arm whop and gets him too, that was a good pop too. That popped the shit out of me. So, but I was feeling for Grayson in this one, man, big time.
Now, the Dark Order, of course, picked up the victory by hitting their fatality on Butcher for the win. You know, we saw the Brodie Boss Plan slam. We saw the boots in this match. You mentioned the lariat. There was some post-stuff action, too, which we can get into. But before we do that, what do you think of the overall match, Silvio?
I really loved Archer last night. We've talked about what to do with Archer and how to keep him a monster. And I think the last thing I said was have him not sell anything and just have him beat people. He pretty much did just that last night. He was I don't know how tight he and Brodie were, but Archer was fired up. He was a monster, vicious babyface, and it was awesome. Butcher tries to clothesline him, and he runs right through the fucking clothesline. I haven't seen that in God knows how long, throwing people around. And then Uno and Grayson, they wrestled with their hearts out there, but they had a spectacular finish. I always do the apron DDT. That's one of my signatures. But this dude somehow jumps from the inside of the ring, a la Jericho, to springboard outside and apron DDT for them to pick him up in like a gory special blockbuster kind of combo off the top. Really hot, exciting finish.
And then after the match, Dark Order and Archer were getting strikes in, and then Kingston got pushed into Jake Roberts, and then Roberts hit him with a big clothesline.
Yeah, it was great. That popped me. I was glad to see Jake back from whatever he was coming back from, because he was sick there for a while too, I guess. So, but I agree. So with Archer, I sent him a message, DM, just saying I was super impressed with your tribute tonight, man. And you fucking looked awesome and really stood out on the show tonight. Brodie, been proud. So I hope that finds him in good health today. But here's the thing. When I do impersonations or when I'm teaching acting and I get people to do impersonations, I get people to rap and I start working with them with flow, or you work with a voice, or there's a vocalist or a song you're working on where you can sound like Tom Waits, or you can sound like fucking Doors gimmick, like whatever it is, you're embodying that person. Well, that's unlocking features in yourself that you might not normally tap into. And once you can start flagging that and going, holy shit, I can fucking do this from Stone Cold. I can take this, that, and the other. That's all within you. And you might have not even known that before. So now if he's got to go, I'm just going to start channeling Brodie Lee. Now, maybe I'll use my own offensive package so it's not completely his, but I'm going to take that same energy and put it on my shit. Now we're inspired and off to the races a little bit, right? And people will say, he looks fucking hard, way more. He's got it in him now, and all he's thinking is, I'm doing Brodie. I'm Brodie Lee right now, to use that as fire. Eventually, it'll become his own thing, but that's a great way to get out of the blocks. And for a guy like him last night, that might have been the key turn that fucking starts the engine finally.
That's a very smart way to look at it, dude. And that could have been one final gift to him from Brodie. Because what we saw from Archer last night, that's like the blueprint of an ass-kicking big man. Somebody that Vince would make the babyface world champion. Somebody that could put a company on the shoulders. And I think really all he tweaks, as funny as it sounded, is he just added a little bit of speed to his game. I don't mean jumping. He moved just a little bit faster, and he appeared like a freight train. As you would imagine a freight train smashing somebody, that's what he was last night. And that's what he needs to do. I think doing that without being the methodical Archer, this shit's money.
Sure. And I pop because they're both so big that their footwork is super shitty because they got those long legs. So even when he was trying to emulate them, it looked really like Brodie trying to do the spin around on them big stilts, So that I liked it, man, a lot. That was one of my favorite moments too in ring last night. Colt was great and Archer was great, and everybody was, but in both those matches, those guys were studs.
We go to a tribute video after that with Dax Harwood, and he talks about how much Brodie Lee loved his family, as well as Colt Cabana puts him over. Talked to Bryce Remsburg, one of the referees, and says that they weren't working together for a long time, but that they had, of course, reunited, and that it had been like nothing had changed. They've been old friends, saying that, of course, if there was a Mount Rushmore of dads in pro wrestling, Brodie would be on there. It was a very nice package, kind of a tribute to him as a father here in this package.
Absolutely.
We then went to the Inner Circle, MJF, Santana, and Ortiz taking on Hangman Page, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds. And, while not unofficially announced, Hangman Page was in full gear tonight, matched with the Dark Order guys. So it does look like whether either it's a Dark Order, at least those two in particular, he might be moving forward with those two guys, which I don't mind seeing that. I think that's an interesting dynamic. Hangman Page can have some rodeo clowns, as a cowboy. So I think that's little lackeys, if you will. That'd be an interesting idea. But the match is about to begin. But John Silver and Alex Reynolds, as they listen to Like the Fuse podcast and hackerhamin.podbean.com, and they follow Ben Hamin on Twitter, they threw papers at Santana Ortiz as a tribute to Brodie. Of course,
boy, they did one fucking thing in that where he says like a cannonball. Who was? Oh, it was Silver. He fucking brings him over to snap mirror one of LAX into the other, and it was close, bro. They needed to be another step back to make it safe. He fucking rocketed him in there, bro. I was worried about on that bump going in that hard, especially because the guy going forward in the roll, it looked shitty enough for him landing on his head, but he was so fast when he hit him. That other guy, he must have just taken it hard. I can't remember who was in, if it was Santana Ortiz or Ortiz Santana, which way they were switched. But
I thought it looked sick. And coming from a guy who has done movements like that, it looks safe to me. It's just It's risky. Like anything else like that.
It was one step too far, I thought. You know what I mean? Like not too far in violence, like one step too close to like if he would have married him just one step earlier, it would have been perfect timing. Sure. But that shows you in wrestling how the distance is. And that Silver dude is a smaller dude, so for him, that timing and distance might be right of guys working that size. Not that those guys are massive, but it did look gnarly and real. There's no doubt about that.
It did.
So during the match, though, at one point, Wardlow attacks Reynolds, and then Wardlow is attacking Reynolds, and then all of a sudden, Eric Rowan, formerly, appears. He starts attacking Wardlow. The crowd goes nuts. MJF takes the mask off Brodie Lee Jr., and he turns his back, comes back, and Lee Jr. hits him with the cane. Silver lands Brodie's discus forearm, gets the pin for the victory. And then afterwards, Silver, Page, and Reynolds are emotional, exchanging hugs, and Rowan had a sign next to the ring that said, "Goodbye, my brother." I thought this was classy to bring in Eric Rowan like this. He's been released from WWE since April. So, of course, for anybody's speculation, 90 days well beyond past that. However, I would say if you were going to find a perfect replacement to carry on the Dark Order and you wanted to take it in a more serious manner and get away from the comedy, Eric Rowan would be the perfect person for that.
Can't disagree either, man. But I think it's Colt's time to be the leader, and Rowan could be his fucking right hand. He could be his Wardlow. You know what I mean? We saw Rowan get a small shot on the mic in WWE, and he didn't fuck it up. But then Roman Reigns attempted murder with the lookalike driver. Here's a spider in a fucking cage. Like, okay. But so we need to do something along those lines, or you can put him and fucking Murder Hawk together. And now you got some new Demolition, whatever the fuck you want them to be, of destroyers in the tag team division, So there's opportunities there absolutely for them. And I hope that they do offer Rowan a contract, because right now that'd be a good place for him to be around people, because I'm sure he's hurting as well. Why let him be out in the cold that way? There's value on him. You saw it last night when people saw him come out in that run-in. Everybody's spirits got lifted right there. It was good.
Or you could do a la The Office. You could do the co-manager angle where both he and Cabana are sharing the duties of the Dark Order.
Just and then make Evil Uno the assistant to the assistant manager.
Even if Colt wanted to keep the papers bit going, that could be Rowan's bit. Rowan don't got to say nothing. He's the guy who fucking Colt's like, get him and fucking throw papers
on Uno. Keeps throwing at Uno. Yeah, keeps the bit going. Yeah.
So there was a lot going on in this match, from the Rowan appearance to the side angle with MJF, being a dastardly heel and fucking with Brodie's poor little son. Then I was thinking the whole time, what's the payoff going to be?
He cracked him, bro.
Yeah, he cracked him, and I popped for it. I think I laughed and popped at the same time. Like, fuck yeah, that was cool that they gave little Brodie
that little kid is a stiff motherfucker, bro. I'm here to tell you, like his
Brodie's son.
He wound him up at that party. he whacked me twice, but low blows. but yeah, dude, he fucking hit me with a right hook right in the nuts twice. But on Cheech that night, Cheech must have got 15 to 20 times in the balls by that kid. And he was at the age where you can't really, like, all right, enough's enough. And then you see Brodie like reprimand him, but Brodie's just fucking telling him, now go over and get Dewey next. Go punch Dewey in the balls.
I like
fucking wailing on dudes at the party, half in the bag, who've already been working all night long, taking real heat on their nuts from a 5-year-old. Good rip.
Stranger Sally in the chat room says, I think the Dark Order should still talk about the Exalted One like he's their god. They should treat him like he's the L. Ron Hubbard,
Absolutely.
And Cole Cabana is the new David Miscavige, right? Like that's
yes. I was sitting on the shitter thinking that this morning.
Two big things we can't ignore from this match. Number one, MJF's Puerto Rican inspired outfit. That was money.
That was great. That was great.
And number two, Lil John Silver. That motherfucker was trucking it.
Yeah.
He turned it on, man. That was his real chance to shine. And he had that match on the pay-per-view with Orange Cassidy where he got a chance to show he could do some stuff. But this one, the viewing audience that watches TV got to see that, fuck, this guy could be a good baby face.
Mm-hmm.
He was out there he might have made the most fiery comeback of the night.
He did. I think he did make the most fiery comeback of the night. I was just going to say that. And not a lot of people know this. They had this. I might have been on the Being the Elite one that Brodie, bought him all that gear when they were going to come in and do that. And it was kind of piecemeal. Remember, they were looking like Walmart Spectacular in the Under Armour and shit. That's another thing. That's the kind of guy Brodie is. He's got the money from WWE. It's not just to show and flex it. It's like, if we're going to do this, boys, we're going to do it right. And I know you guys are pretty much living out of your cars still, so let me take some of this fucking Kingdom of Saudi Arabia money and get us looking right in the ring. That's a man.
Yep.
That's a fucking man, bro.
That's an often overlooked aspect. I mean, you and I could do a whole show on that topic alone, but That's an often overlooked aspect of pro wrestling is I think sometimes a lot of the fans don't realize the human aspect of who they are as people and that they do things like that, like what Brodie did for Silver. Because fans will jump on.
Rich Ortiz, a.k.a. Atlas the Bone. When he went up to WWE, left all of his stuff to Dre Blitz. Like stuff Blitz could never afford, like, name brand shit. And Blitz, because Blitz did good business for him when he was on the push there, and who else is going to help him? There's a lot of guys like that, man, that it never gets said out in public. I think, one of the best things like that, and not just guys, women. Beth Phoenix talks about it in her Hall of Fame speech about Molly Holly and what she did for her at OVW and making sure her tuition was paid so she could go to become the star that she was. Like that, those things need to be said sometimes.
Yep, I agree. Maybe we'll say it.
I hope that if they do bring in Eric Rowan, I hope in 6 months we don't see him straddling John Silver on his shoulders. I don't want to see that. I just foresee the little guy being on top of the big guy's shoulders and him rubbing his head, and I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see that.
All right.
I don't know. Just throwing it out to the universe, make sure it doesn't happen. Coming up next was, you might say, a child's wet dream. As he looked at the show, we got 4 beautiful women, Anna Jay and Tay Conti, taking on Dr. Britt Baker with Rebel, still a lovely lady as well, and Penelope Ford in 4 very beautiful women. Again, kudos to the kid. He had good taste in beautiful women here. Ultimately, we see, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the theme you're going to see throughout Dark Order members win. Anna Jay, and Tay Conti, as Conti stopped both Baker and Rebel from saving Penelope Ford at the end, and Penelope Ford tapped out. What did you think of this match, Chris Silvio?
Guy's eating his rice and beans. Leave him alone.
I'm sorry.
Tay Conti had a hell of a shine. That's the best she looked when she was throwing those little judo arm bars, big strikes. She looked really good.
But she threw those judo arm bars, and then she should have pinned her right there, bro. Like she got up and like no-sold them right afterwards, and they looked so awesome.
She had like a real hot little sequence. And I was like, all right, good job, girl. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's end it on a high note, George Costanza style. And they ended up going to the Heat after that. Anna Jay over with the sleeper hold, big finish. Babyface is over all night, Dark Order. I thought Britt's promo after was kind of funny, how they did a political nod where Britt's talking about everything being rigged. And then Thunder Rosa comes out wearing what appeared to be like a bandana top around her, just whooping Britt's ass. Rebel couldn't even pull her off. So it ended in an exciting little thing. Anna Jay got her shine.
The Britt Baker thing wasn't about politics. It was about Brodie Lee's name, because he was known as the Big Rig in 2CW and in the Indies. So she goes, it was rigged.
The last line where she did the wink.
Big Rig. Okay, like she got her little, cutesy moment over as a heel to get, a wink and tongue in cheek. No problem there. Did you see on the lower third graphic where it said Rebel, not Reba on there? Like Dr. Britt Baker with Rebel, not Reba on there. It was good, dude. I liked it. This was good. And the women all are super sexy. They're shooting sexy women how they should. Tastefully soft pornographic, I guess, is what it is. Like you want to see more, but you're not gonna. And the girls are dressing sexy. All their gear looks good. And I think the tide may have changed in AEW women's wrestling based on Serena there. This show, we saw so many people work gimmicks, character, and slow down. And the wrestling was way better, and just working safe. So there's a couple things that need to be tightened up with them in the way that they get their stuff to a certain flow, and it's really working good. But when they go for their false pin, or their pin, which is going to be a falsie, they're facing the wrong way for camera. They're getting things there. They're just not getting in position the right way. So there's a couple fine tuning things that they need to work on. But this was one of the better girls tag matches, both sexy and technically, that I've seen.
Yeah, fantastic match. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed the look and the action. After the match, Baker called Tony Schiavone to the ring, and she says that there is a conspiracy. And then she basically said that they should not have lost. Thunder Rosa makes a run in and attacks Britt Baker, thus advancing their storylines more. Chris Jericho has his VTR. He starts talking about how he wrestled Luke Harper 27 times. He says that he knows that because Mauro Ranallo told him. He says, and then he talks about a story about Brodie and says that he and Brodie were on tour in Saudi Arabia. Jericho says that he sees an arrow in his hotel room, and he tells Brodie to look at the arrow on the wall, and Brodie tells him it's pointed to Mecca. And Jericho says, how do you know that? And the way Brodie looked back at him and says, dude, everybody knows that. And then he finished his tribute by saying that they will take care of him and his family. He promises it. So nice. It was a nice tribute package. I hope that, in the future, like I don't like to play devil's advocate and think about negative things, but I hope that in the future they can take care of his son, and everyone will be in a position to, because
things like that usually go like, dude, I'm not going to be like, they're fine, because I don't know his finances. But if you got the number one selling shirt on AEW, Punk, Foley, and this, and we've seen Jericho with other guys who've passed away or need surgery.
Kid,
he puts the money in. I got a feeling what you're going to see from these upper brasses every year when their contracts get renewed, each one of them in a gentleman's agreement kicks in 10 grand, and it fucking goes to her for as long as they're doing whatever, bro. Like when those guys are operating at that level, that's just what you do. You know what I mean? And you don't expect nobody to know about it or what have you. But from what I know, and Brodie had a 9-year run in WWE, and the Saudi shows and whatnot, and the man's smart with his money, and he's a family man. The only vice he had was some smiz, and I think he took some of his t-shirt money to cover the fucking cost of getting fined for it. So that's it, bro. Like I think Brodie, no matter what, his family's been set up for a while. But when you say taken care of, again, that kid's gonna have all the uncles of 2CW, ESW, Upstate Pro Wrestling, AEW, and WWE to fucking make sure he's taken care of the right way in the business if he's going to fucking go into it that way, So that, to me, more than money means, you don't got to worry. Your family's not just going to go off into the darkness and not fucking be thought of again.
Well, he's got the genes, and he ends up being the next big thing.
Jesus Christ, got a hell of a right hook in the nuts. I'll tell you that.
And with Brodie being the family man he was, I'm sure he probably invested heavily in a life insurance policy, especially with the line of work that we're in. So hopefully that takes care of the family. And people will say a lot of things about Tony Khan. I usually am pretty complimentary of Tony Khan based on what I've seen from him. He has a lot of resources, and Tony Khan does strike me as if he's willing to allow a 9-year-old child to help him book his wrestling show for one night, completely change the show around, no angles, and have this kid in the main event segment. I think Tony Khan's also the kind of person that would make sure that they get something coming in for as long as he's able to.
Well, they signed the kid to
doing that.
I think they signed the kid to a contract. So what I think that tells me is they probably just retroactively reverted his dad's contract to the son, is what I would think.
I believe so.
And what a classy thing to do. What other wrestling company have you ever heard of doing that?
Nope. The only other wrestling company I've heard of tried to pay off the family to get the rights and they still haven't been able to get him into the Hall of Fame.
Well, what we're talking about here, I mean, it is a great thing, but in marketing wise, now let me take myself away from wrestling. And this is not me trying to shit on anybody for doing anything. This is me as a CEO in the fucking marketing world. Is the Noble Edge effect to show these gifts of charity and to do these acts in public, endear your audience and your buyers and your consumer to your product that much more, because now we've tied an emotion to our product and we've all witnessed this. So now you've made even more brand loyalists off of that. In transferring the contract to the kid, that is also, hey, it's worth the price of whatever it is, because what we're going to get back in good faith is tied to our brand. They'll support us more and more and more and more and more. So there is a shady marketing side to this that it does have an effect. Not to say that's their first inclination and why they're doing it, but that's what it's called, is the Noble Edge effect. And you can check it out at Coglode, COGLODE.com, or Hamin Media Group Patreon, as I talked about it a while ago. I need to do more marketing. I'm getting on it.
Well, next up was, I guess, -1. That's what they're calling him, Brodie Lee Jr., the son. His favorite wrestlers, Cody, Orange Cassidy, and apparently number 10, taking on Team Taz. That being the Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage. Ultimately, of course, we're not going to go home on a negative note. Cody Rhodes and his team, Orange Cassidy and 10 from the Dark Order, pick up the victory. After the match, Team Taz, including Hooks, are attacking Rhodes, Tan, and Cassidy. And then just as they're in the middle of the attack, the lights go out. Darby Allin, he's standing in one of the walkways. And then lights go out again. Sting's music hits. Now he's in the other walkway. They're both walking the ring. Team Taz staring them down. And that's kind of how that segment ends. Now there is one more segment with Cody, but what did you think of this segment, the match, and then the fallout afterwards, Silvio? Did you like how at least they mixed in some continuity with the storyline here?
Yeah, they made some attempts to, stick to kayfabe a little bit on this one. I thought Starks shined once again, really, really bright. Each match, to me, I feel like there was one person in the match that really brought it. In this match, I give that award to Ricky Starks. Everyone else did well. Cody's always fucking good. Orange is entertaining. Team Taz is big muscular motherfuckers, and cocky, snappy Ricky Starks. But I wasn't very impressed with Ricky, and I really hope that they develop him into something, because he's got everything you need to be a star. It was what it was, man. This seemed to me like something you would book at like if we ran this huge house show in Rochester, and we're calling this the Brodie Lee, tribute show, Brodie Lee Memorial. That's what you would do there. Just a simple 6-man with some stars in it, baby faces up. It wasn't too complicated. It was exactly the match that a moment like this called for. And we got to see some guys shine in the process. So it was all right. It was good business.
Well, following that, we went to commercial. We come back. Let's see. I'm sorry, Ben. Did you have any thoughts on this match at all?
Yeah, I mean, big dudes were showing character. I was impressed with them. Big Hobbs doing the face thing. Obviously, you got to do lights up, lights down, and even Blaze hits the fucking overhead Tazplex. It was good. It was good little business for what it needed to be. You're not going to outshine everything else that's happened in multi-man tag matches up to this point. So do your little bits, and the nostalgia stuff went to somebody else, and the babies. It was good.
Did you see Hamin the modified Vader body attack that Hobbs did last night? That was very impressive.
I'll have to go back and watch it. I don't think
watch it. So the Vader.
I've done it. Yeah, no, because I do it and I do it badly. So I'd like to do it better.
Hobbs threw his body into it. I don't know if it was by accident or by choice, but he turned it into almost a Thez press after the body check, and it looked brutal and awesome.
All right. Okay.
Well, in our final segment of last night's AEW, they come back from a commercial with Cody Rhodes standing in the ring by himself. Rhodes talks about how Brodie Lee was a great person. He notes that he was a beautiful man, beautiful person. Rhodes talks about how nobody has ever been respected and well-liked as Brodie has, no matter what company or what locker room he's worked for. Cody then introduced Brodie Lee Jr. to the ring. Brodie comes out with his mom, who's also holding Brodie's boots in the middle. So they put it in the middle of the ring. Tony Khan at this point is in the ring. He then presents Brodie Lee Jr. with a TNT championship belt and says that he will be the TNT champion forever. Tony Khan then goes to a video montage of Brodie Lee, which shows past footage from his indie days and family photos. They show many different photos and videos, which includes photos of both WWE and AEW wrestlers. And it was a great ending with the photo of Brodie Lee itself. So I like this ending. My only criticism on this, and I don't mean to criticize Tony Khan here. I just wish some of the lingo he had used when he was cutting this final promo, I wish he would have used words like, "We put a great show for you tonight. We all miss Brodie. We all love." It was a lot of eyes. That was the only thing kind of took me out of it a little bit. Like, come on. But that was other than that, I get. But he was dealing with his own emotional things, so I get it. I'm not going to fault him for how everyone deals with their own emotions differently. But it would have been nice to, as a team, as a television, I would have liked the verbiage of "we's" more than "I," but that's about it.
I have to rewatch it. I didn't catch that.
It's always that. Now's not the time for me to go in on him on that, man.
I know.
No, I'm not trying to shit on you, but like I got plenty to say on that. But the Tony Khan did a brilliant job in putting this kid's legacy in play at the end here. Some people were criticizing, do we need to be doing all that at the end for the stage shots? That's not up to me right now either. But what he did was facilitate closure that people are going to appreciate. Not now. His staff, his locker room, his fans are going to be able to get over this tragedy much easier, and they're going to be less scarred in the future because of what happened tonight. This was a great tribute show, and whether there's small things that can be nitpicked or whatever, it honored the man that it was supposed to fully, and it helped the people who loved him the most gain some peace of mind. So to Tony Khan for that, I fucking salute you, and I say bravo.
Yeah, I'm definitely not crapping. I can understand if we were to analyze his emotional state and based on the type of individual who he is, because I'm assuming those same types of individuals listen to the Meltzer stuff and they watch AEW, right? He might be in a little bit of an emotional state, so he might be under the impression like, I hope I'm doing a good job. I hope I'm honoring Brodie Lee. So there might be a lot of emotional stress he's going under. So when he uses verbiage like he might be like, I hope I did this well for you guys. I hope it blah blah blah. So I don't want to shit on him too much for that, but I definitely just would have liked more of that sentiment if I was going to be.
I hope he feels. I hope in 2021 he feels like we feels family more after this. You know what I mean? To be part of a group production means a lot more when you're a part of the whole and the whole succeeds itself. Individually, those are only small accolades. When you can elevate an entire group of people and you are a part of that and you feel that type of completion, it's a whole nother type of gratification, bro. Because without you, it wouldn't have been the same experience for everybody else.
My biggest hope out of all of this is in the worst year of their the worst week of their lives, Christmas and New Year's coming, their father or husband passes away. They got to deal with that and the funeral and all this. Above all else, I hope that everything that the team did last night was something bright and shiny for those kids to not forget, because they reminded them of their father the whole time, but have some fun and get out of the sadness and, dreariness of losing your father or your husband. I'm sure it's more for the kids than it was for the wife. So I hope that those kids got some happiness out of it, and they're damn sure going to remember it, especially the older son. They're always going to remember that moment. And I think it sends a message to some of the guys in the locker room as well, that, okay, this company is showing some deep level of care about an employee here. Whereas another company, a lot of the employees that have left there have, stated things like they don't feel cared for, or somebody leaves or passes away and nothing's done. This was the complete opposite. So I hope it had a positive effect on the family as well as the locker room, so everybody could kind of feel a little more comfortable and say, all right, we're a team now. We got faith in this brand and each other. Now let's go fucking kick the world's ass.
I agree. And they got WWE locker room on their side. Really, to be honest with you, you want to talk about poison in the water. The office over there couldn't have done less, and the guys wanted more, and now they did more than what was expected at AEW in good faith. And now it just looks like every shady move that WWE makes going forward, when guys are going to be thinking about that, they're going to be thinking about the other, bro. So,
well, guys, that was your full AEW recap, the Brodie Lee tribute show.
Yeah, man.
Rest in peace again, Brodie Lee. I, of course, am your host and scene with ears clean. I'm lighting up green. Your boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. We recently just moved our feed for the Suck My Balls podcast. A little bit of technicality hangups, as there usually is with computers and whatnot. Nothing on our end, so we're just kind of waiting for that to resolve. However, you can still listen to the brand new episode right now, episode number 56 on Hamin Media Group. Just go to Hamin Media Group on your podcast platform. You'll see it there. Of course, as well as on the Rat Salad Review and the R&R Pod Network. And check it out there too. And we got a brand new episode coming up next week that we've already recorded. It is Cherokee hair tampon episode. It's the episode with Cheech and Chong guest voice. It's a great episode. So
cool.
For stoners, we love it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But a guy named Sil. What's going on in your world? What's going on at the dojo? I saw Jenna rolling around with another guy who shall not be named.
Fuck that. Yes, her and Troop. They drilled together the other day, did some impressive stuff. I'll be back there tomorrow. It's New Year's Day. It ain't a fucking holiday. We're going to be out there training like savages, because that's what we do. Tonight, I'm going to have a good time with my beautiful better half and a few members of my family, and just be appreciative for my friends and family. And then tomorrow it's back to work training. So for our contest deal, guys, get in touch with Maddie, and Maddie will connect us together, and we'll make sure that you guys get something cool out of your little jingle submission. But no, I don't got anything to plug, man. It's all about good faith, the new year, and loving the ones you're around and creating a good environment for yourself and others.
Oh, I got two more things before you, Ben, take it away. First thing, guys, if you want to continue to hear me sing, just send some emails to lightthefusehmg@gmail.com. The Wednesday Locker Room does memes. If you feel like you need to publicly humiliate me, that's what I'm here for. So send your emails to lightthefusehmg@gmail.com.
I like that.
Second thing is don't forget to make sure you're following everything as far as Hamin Media Group related. That being YouTube and both Twitch accounts, so look out for that just in case. As we will be back tomorrow for a special award show. It's supposed to take place at 2 p.m. Eastern, according to Rick Vickery. So make sure your notification bells are turned on. Light the Fuse was nominated for review show. Did we win? We'll find out.
Should.
Did I win? I'll find out. Did Ben win? Ben probably won something because it's his network. We don't know which award. But which one? We don't know. Find out tomorrow on the award show.
Maddie, can the listeners send in diss tracks about you?
If that's fine, I'll read my own diss tracks.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's Hacker Hamin, it's MSG, it's Big Silvio, man. It's Light the Fuse, probably the most important episode that we've ever done, and we may ever do. And hopefully we don't have to do one like this again for the loss of another great brother. To everybody who loved and was entertained by Brodie Lee, I hope you raise one up at midnight tonight and remember him for the joy that he provided you, the bumps that he took, or the guys you saw him knock on his ass because he was damn good at it. So, y'all infidels, this one's for you, Big Rig. We're headed down the road again, ready to light that fuse and take it to him 2CW style, infidels, all the way through 2021. YOLO!